Vladimir Putin, the name echoes across the globe, synonymous with power, ambition, and an enigma that continues to baffle the world. His influence stretches far beyond the borders of Russia, impacting global politics in ways both overt and covert. Born into humble beginnings in Leningrad, now known as St. Petersburg, he ascended to the helm of Russia, becoming a dominant force in global politics. His early life was marked by the harsh realities of post-war Soviet Union, which shaped his resilient and determined character. His story is one of ambition, ruthlessness, and a deep-seated desire to restore Russia to its former glory. From his days in the KGB to his strategic maneuvers in the political arena, Putin's journey is a testament to his unyielding will and tactical acumen. This essay delves into the life and times of Vladimir Putin, exploring his journey from the shadows of the KGB to the apex of Russian power. We will examine the pivotal moments that defined his path and the strategies he employed to consolidate his authority. We will navigate through his early years, shaped by the austere realities of Soviet life, and his formative experiences in the KGB, where he honed his skills in espionage and political maneuvering. These experiences not only molded his worldview, but also equipped him with the tools to navigate the complex landscape of Russian politics. His rise to power, swift and calculated, marked a turning point in Russian history. Putin's ascent was characterized by a series of strategic moves that outmaneuvered his rivals and solidified his grip on the nation. Putin's reign has been marked by both economic progress and political repression, territorial expansion, and international isolation. His policies have led to significant developments within Russia, while also drawing criticism and sanctions from the international community. The annexation of Crimea in 2014 stands as a bold testament to his aggressive foreign policy and his vision for Russia's place in the world. Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin was born in Leningrad on October 7, 1952. The city, now known as St. Petersburg, was still recovering from the devastating siege of Leningrad during World War II. His childhood was marked by the hardships endured by ordinary citizens in the aftermath of World War II. The city was in ruins, and the people were struggling to rebuild their lives amidst the rubble and scarcity. Growing up in a communal apartment, sharing a kitchen with several families, Putin witnessed firsthand the struggles of everyday life in the Soviet Union. These communal living arrangements were common, as housing was scarce and resources were limited. Despite the challenges, Putin excelled in his studies, displaying a keen intellect and a thirst for knowledge. He was a diligent student, often seen with his nose buried in books, eager to learn and succeed. He was drawn to stories of espionage and adventure, idolizing the secret agents who operated in the shadows. These tales of intrigue and covert operations captured his imagination and fueled his ambitions. This fascination led him to pursue a career in the KGB, the Soviet Union's notorious security agency. Joining the KGB was a prestigious and highly competitive endeavor, requiring both physical and mental prowess. Putin's time in the KGB proved to be a formative period, shaping his worldview and instilling in him a deep sense of loyalty and discipline. The rigorous training and demanding environment honed his skills and prepared him for future challenges. He received rigorous training in intelligence gathering, analysis, and covert operations, skills that would serve him well in his political career. This period of his life laid the foundation for his rise to power, equipping him with the tools and mindset necessary for navigating the complex world of politics and international relations. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, Putin returned to Russia and entered the political arena. He quickly rose through the ranks, serving in various positions in the St. Petersburg city government. His competence and efficiency caught the attention of President Boris Yeltsin, who brought Putin to Moscow in 1996. Putin's ascent in Moscow was meteoric. He served as the head of the FSB, the successor agency to the KGB, and later as Prime Minister. In 1999, Yeltsin unexpectedly resigned, appointing Putin as acting president. This marked the beginning of Putin's reign, a period that would redefine Russia's place in the world. One of the defining events of Putin's early presidency was the Second Chechen War. Chechnya, a republic within Russia, had declared independence following the collapse of the Soviet Union. Putin, determined to reassert Russian control, launched a full-scale military operation in 1999. The war was brutal and protracted, resulting in significant casualties on both sides. However, it ultimately cemented Putin's image as a strong and decisive leader. The conflict also provided him with an opportunity to consolidate his power and silence dissent, as he cracked down on media outlets and political opponents who criticized the war. As Putin consolidated his power domestically, he also began to assert Russia's influence on the global stage. The so-called Putin Doctrine emerged, emphasizing national sovereignty, military strength, and a rejection of Western interference in Russian affairs. Under Putin's leadership, Russia adopted a more assertive foreign policy, challenging the United States and its allies on various fronts. From supporting the Assad regime in Syria to meddling in Western elections, Putin demonstrated a willingness to use all means at his disposal to advance Russian interests. In 2008, after serving 2 consecutive terms as president, Putin stepped down due to constitutional term limits. He handpicked Dmitry Medvedev, his close ally, as his successor. However, Putin remained a powerful figure behind the scene, serving as prime minister and retaining significant influence over the government. The Medvedev interlude proved to be a temporary arrangement. In 2012, Putin announced his candidacy for president once again, winning a 3rd term in an election marred by allegations of fraud and voter intimidation. His return to the presidency marked the beginning of a new chapter in his rule, one characterized by growing authoritarianism and confrontation with the West. In 2014, Russia annexed the Crimean Peninsula from Ukraine following a referendum widely condemned by the international community as illegitimate. The annexation of Crimea was a watershed moment in Putin's reign, marking a significant escalation in tensions between Russia and the West. The crisis in Ukraine did not end with the annexation of Crimea. Russia continued to support separatist movements in eastern Ukraine, providing them with weapons and military training. The conflict in Ukraine has become a frozen conflict with no end in sight, and has had a profound impact on the geopolitical landscape of Europe. Section 8. The global stage: Putin's foreign policy assertions. Putin's foreign policy has been characterized by a desire to restore Russia's status as a great power, a vision deeply rooted in his perception of Russia's historical and geopolitical significance. He aims to counter what he sees as Western hegemony, which he believes undermines Russia's sovereignty and global standing. To achieve this, he has sought to strengthen ties with countries in Asia, Latin America and Africa, regions that offer strategic partnerships and economic opportunities. By building alliances and partnerships beyond the traditional sphere of Russian influence, Putin aims to create a multipolar world order. Putin has also shown a willingness to use military force to achieve his objectives, demonstrating a readiness to protect Russian interests through direct intervention. This is evident in Russia's intervention in Syria, where military action was used to support the Assad regime and secure Russian influence in the Middle East. His actions have drawn condemnation from the West, resulting in a series of economic sanctions and diplomatic isolation. These measures have aimed to pressure Russia into changing its policies, but have also led to a more insular and defiant Russian stance. However, Putin has remained defiant, using these challenges to bolster his image domestically as a strong leader. He presents himself as a defender of Russian interests against Western aggression, rallying nationalistic sentiments and reinforcing his grip on power. Section 9. A legacy etched in power: Putin's impact on Russia. Putin's impact on Russia has been profound. He inherited a country in chaos and brought about a period of stability and economic growth. He restored national pride and reasserted Russia's role on the world stage. However, his rule has also been marked by authoritarianism, corruption, and human rights abuses. Putin's legacy is complex and contested. He is admired by some for his strength and decisiveness, while others view him as an autocrat who has eroded democratic institutions and stifled dissent. His impact on Russia will continue to be debated for years to come. Section 10. The world grapples with Putin's shadow. Vladimir Putin's shadow looms large over global affairs. His actions have had a profound impact on international relations, shaping the geopolitical landscape in the 21st century. From the annexation of Crimea to interference in Western elections, Putin has challenged the established world order. The world grapples with how to engage with Putin's Russia. Some advocate for dialogue and cooperation, while others call for containment and deterrence. The future of Russia's relationship with the West remains uncertain, with profound implications for global security and stability. Section 11. Conclusion, an unfinished chapter in Russian history. Vladimir Putin's story is far from over. He remains a formidable figure on the world stage, his intentions often shrouded in secrecy. As he continues to rule Russia with an iron fist, the world watches with a mixture of fascination and apprehension. Putin's legacy will ultimately depend on the choices he makes in the years to come. Will he continue to pursue a path of confrontation with the West, or will he seek a more cooperative relationship? Only time will tell how this complex and enigmatic figure will shape the future of Russia and the world.